the greatest wrestling matches of all time has just taken place here at SummerSlam. The new Intercontinental Champion, the British Bulldog.
And he did it in his own backyard.
In 80,355 jam-packing Wembley Stadium to witness the spectacle.
Welcome to Last Match Standing, the podcast where we review, relive, and rank the 100 greatest wrestling matches of all time. As always, I'm Spencer.
I'm winging it.
And if I hear another air horn, I'm going to take that air horn, shine it up real nice, and turn the damn thing sideways and shove it right up your candy ass.
Okay. Welcome to August the 29th, 1992, from Wembley Stadium in London, England. Today we have Bret Hart versus the British Bulldog for the WWF Intercontinental Championship.
The prestigious Intercontinental Championship.
Before we get there, we have quite a few things to get off of our chest, a couple of housekeeping things for you guys, and we're going to start with Landon, who has some really good news.
I am so excited to be sharing this news with you. We have been talking about maybe doing this for a while, and we are finally going to announce 2 brand new Patreon tiers and opportunities for you guys to interact with us. So we have a brand new, if you want to be a 2-time Slammy Award winner, you now can. For the low price of $10, you can be featured on a ranking segment of Last Match Standing. We have been thinking about ways that we can be more interactive with you listeners, because that's the whole point. And the ranking is the most difficult part of our show, and we need help. So we want to be able to feature your voice on our show. And the $10 tier is just what that is for. So you can be a 2-time Slammy Award winner, be featured on the show. Send us your voice clip, and we'll take all the ones we get in, and we'll pick the one we like best, and that's going to end up on the show. There will be some listener interaction on our show every single week, and we cannot wait for that one. Also, at the $10 tier, Paul will record any wrestling voice out there. He requests that you ask for Vince McMahon, but we're saying any
voice you want.
Any voice you want.
No,
he can do an impression for your voicemail.
I've got like 5 I can do.
Yeah, I mean, for $10 on Patreon, a Paul impression voicemail, I would sign up for that.
Look,
This is not a rib on Paul. It's not a rib.
It's definitely a rib.
But that's not all. We have a brand new $20 tier. If anyone really loves us this much,
And we love you this much in return, I promise.
you can become Paul's favorite person, the Lexorcist.
Hey!
And by becoming the Lexorcist, you get an opportunity to be featured on our trivia episode or on an episode of our spinoff podcast, Welcome to the Elite, where we do an all-elite wrestling crawl. We cannot wait to interact with you guys on these shows. It's going to be so much fun. We really hope that you enjoy listening to trivia, and we hope that maybe one of you might have the opportunity to take on a Last Match Standing champion in one of these trivia challenges.
Yeah, you know, the other really cool thing, Landon, about the $20 tier is that when you sign up, we give you a little something as a thank you.
Absolutely. Yes. Anyone who signs up to become the Lexorcist at the $20 tier will get automatically a free Last Match Standing t-shirt. Thank you so much for doing so. Also, you will have first dibs on any Last Match Standing merch that comes out in the future at that tier. So I'll stop talking about Patreon now. I know it's not the most fun thing to talk about, but we have some really, really great opportunities for listener interaction that I just wanted to let you know about.
And
Merch.
listen, I know that you just said we're going to stop talking about Patreon, but
No, we're
Paul, do you have anything you'd like to add about Patreon?
I've got a couple of things here. So, and I feel really, really bad because I really wish we could have gotten this beforehand. but we had some interactions talking about the Hell in a Cell match. One of them, which I thoroughly enjoyed because we did not mention this. For those of you who didn't know, and by the way, thanks a lot, K Clouds. Shawn Michaels bladed midair in that match.
Amazing.
And we forgot. We didn't talk about it.
Amazing.
We mentioned the blood, right? We mentioned that there was,
the blood.
and we knew he had to blade, but in midair, isn't that fascinating?
Yeah, like because if you watch it, like he's not bleeding. He hits the cell. He's bleeding. Like
No, it was really, really cool. But, while we're talking about Kick Clouds did reach out to us a while back whenever we were talking about the Cedric Alexander match. And fun fact, at Kick Clouds was in a band that recorded the song that Cedric Alexander used when he was in the Indies. That band is called, you can go listen to it. The band is called, oh gosh, where is it? Joaquina.
that's a cool name.
Thank you so much, Kick Clouds, for reaching out to us and letting us know you recorded that song. I wish I recorded the song a wrestler used.
I would now like to announce our spin-off show, Six Degrees of Separation from Cedric Alexander, starring Kick Clouds. We got some more interaction about the Hell in a Cell match I wanted to mention. So, Retrospecticus, I see you there, buddy. Although it may be controversial, they think that is a top 10 material. But that's where I see things just a little bit differently.
Yeah, here's the thing about the Hell in a Cell match. I love Retrospecticus reaching out and telling us that it's in his top 10. I love that feedback. We want more of that from you guys. We want to know where you rank these matches because that match was one of the harder ones for me, I think, to rank. And we were all kind of three in different spots there last time around. But I do want to talk about another Twitter interaction that we had, and this is from one of our favorite listeners, at Deadly Pudding. Because with that name, how could you not be a favorite listener of ours, right? So he actually was talking about the Shibata Ishii match that we covered just a few weeks ago. Here on
you
the
just
pod.
said that match, and my chest is on fire.
Yeah, it got you really excited, right? So Deadly Pudding said, you guys spoke a lot on strong style, of which New Japan and Shibata are both known for, but Ishii would be better classified as a King's Road style wrestler. His trainers, and I will botch these names, Choshu and Tenru, those actually might be close, were the grandfathers of the King's Road style. This style is mostly tied with, and later with, pro wrestling Noah. Notable practitioners of King's Road are the four Heavenly Pillars, and modern-day notables like Kenta and Eddie Kingston. It's a style known for stiff moves, escalating danger, dramatic finishing sequences, and fighting spirit, much like most Japanese professional wrestling. Strong style refers really to the Inoki idea of blending shoot fighting and holds with professional wrestling, whereas King's Road emphasizes dramatic storytelling and takes much of its influence from old Southern and Memphis-style wrestling. What makes Ishii versus Shibata is so great is how they each bring these different styles together, yet make it meld and flow together as if it's all the same. Modern New Japan has many wrestlers that incorporate King's Road into their style. Notably, Okada uses many elements of the style in his approach to laying out a match. Guys like Shibata and Suzuki are far stricter adherents to strong style. Really enjoyed the episode. Just wanted to add in a bit of context.
Oh, we absolutely love that. That was one of the my most favorite things I've ever read on Twitter. Thank you so much for reaching out.
Speaking
and
of
letting us know.
context, gentlemen, is this WrestleMania 9? Because Caesar's sponsoring the show now.
Caesar, thank you for becoming our newest patron.
We love
He's
you,
a
Caesar.
Slammy Award winner.
Render unto Caesar that which is Caesar, gentlemen. But I'm not rewatching WrestleMania 9.
No, I won't do it. Caesar, congratulations on being a Slammy Award winner. Thank you so much for the support. And now, as Landon announced earlier, if you so choose, you can go after another Slammy Award and be a two-time Slammy Award winner. But we really, really do appreciate the support. So thank you so much. But I think that's all the housekeeping we have. Obviously, it was built up a little bit, so thanks for bearing with us through that. Also, thank you guys for the patience with the Hell in a Cell match with the technical error that we had that pushed it back a week. But I think it was worth the wait. We had a really, really good time with that episode.
I think so, too. And apparently, my impression of Vernon Drewsley is trending on Twitter.
I still don't think his name is Drewsley.
the funniest shit I've ever
But
heard.
it's... But Paul Bearer is, in fact, Harry Potter's uncle, for those of you that missed last week's episode.
Specifically, 97 Paul Bearer.
You can't go to Hogwarts, Harry. You've got to burn in hell.
That is definitely going to be on our highlights episode for the season.
If you want that to be your voicemail, you can be a $10 patron, a 2-time Slammy Award winner, and Paul will make that your voicemail.
Or just hit me up on Twitter. It'll happen.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so
SummerSlam 1992.
SummerSlam 1992. This is a match that won the poll that it was in by a landslide, both on Patreon and on Twitter, to Landon's disappointment because he had a couple matches that he really wanted. But
I'm going to get Nick Bockwinkel on this show. It's going to happen.
My name is Nick Bockwinkel, and I'm here to muscle. I'll put the bug back from the Mongoloid. Damn it.
Wait, take that back.
What was that?
I was trying to do his part from the Wrestle Rock Rumble. He's the only one that can rap in the entire Wrestle Rock Rumble. Yeah, the 50-year-old Nick Bockwinkel is the only one that has the rhythm to rap. We're going to cut this part out.
We're just going to drop
really
that
hope
in.
not.
No, I'm going to get it right. This is Nick Bockwinkel, and I've got a passion. I'll get the belt back from the Mongoloid Hansen. I've got the brains, and I'm not humble. I'll get the belt back into the Wrestle Rock Rumble.
That's it.
But from Wembley Stadium, we have Vincent Kennedy McMahon.
God damn it, I thought we were
on
done with him.
commentary. No, we're not. He's joined by Bobby the Brain Heenan, and we have referee Joey Morella, who does a tremendous job in this contest.
Oh, yeah.
Truly good job.
Joey Morella, did you know he is Gorilla Monsoon's son?
Yes.
What?
He is.
Huh. I didn't know that.
Sure is.
Yeah, Gorilla Monsoon had 3 children. One of them was illegitimate, but we're not talking about it today. We're talking about Joey Morella.
And we cut it after 3 children. Okay. This has been Moments with Paul.
I'm not humble.
But he's going to get the belt back in the Wrestle Rock Rumble. SummerSlam 1992 was just one of the rare moments in WWF history where a major pay-per-view was held across the pond.
Yeah.
This time, it was in the world-famous Wembley Stadium.
So good.
With 80,355 people.
And if you didn't know how many there were, Vince was going to tell you 45 times in the span of 1 whole hour. So,
but he probably added 500 every time he said it, too.
But you know,
that fish got a little bit bigger.
The good thing about that number is it's real. This is the shoot 3rd largest crowd they've ever drawn.
And you could tell. It was so
packed.
noticeable. The noise was awesome. It was really, really fun to watch.
Some of the noise was awesome.
Some of the noise was great.
Some of the noise.
There was some noise we could have done with out.
Yeah, some noise I wanted to shut the match off for.
But given the setting, I thought the decision to put Bret Hart with the British Bulldog in the main event was just a great decision. I mean,
very great.
Despite being for the Intercontinental title and not the WWF title, I think it was the right call.
Yeah, and you have to remember that on this SummerSlam 92 card is a WWF Championship match between Randy Savage and the Ultimate Warrior. And that match, it's part of the double main event, but it doesn't go on last, right? They put Hart and Bulldog out there, which I think speaks volumes about who's in the ring.
I agree in this case. But I'm sorry, Paul, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say it's a double main event, a.k.a. no main event. This show is also the debut of Nails.
Oh, wonderful. But see, okay, so I agree somewhat, Spencer, but how do we feel as a whole about world title matches not going on last?
I love it.
Why?
Because if this is a better match, it should go on last.
Well, what is the balance between elevating the Intercontinental Championship and diminishing the prestige of the world title?
I'm not sure if it does in this instance, only because I think sometimes the better story or the better feud isn't necessarily for that world title belt. And I understand that we would prefer that the world title is the single most important thing and it's got the single most important feud. And a lot of the times that's the case. But sometimes it's just not. Some of our best rivalries, some of the matches on this list have not been over a title at all.
Exactly.
Right?
And I was going to say, and on the night, August the 29th or August the 31st, this was the better story, this was the better feud, and it was the better match. It was the right decision.
So I think my recommendation for this issue as a whole would be to decrease the number of championship matches we get. Decrease the number of times champions defend their titles. It makes it a bigger deal to win and have a championship if you're not constantly defending it every
Well, okay, now it's 1992 in this instance, right? So there's 4 pay-per-views still. Are we still in the 4 pay-per-view era?
Yeah, because we get King of the Ring the next year.
So they're going to defend the belt every time, right? And 4 times a year doesn't seem so bad, especially now. To your point,
right? So I guess that's a good point. But I know that they did defend championships on the house show circuits and on on the B shows.
I want the house show circuit going on, but like, I don't think there should be main event title matches on like weekly television.
Right. Yeah. Let it build up.
I mean,
if you build those matches up through months instead of doing, a championship match every few weeks, then I feel like championships as a whole mean more. Think about how excited we are every year when college football comes back. We've waited so long to see our team, and now we finally get to see them defend their national championship. Well, sort of.
Well,
damn 2020.
Well, like, we can't miss you if you don't leave.
Right. So give us some space. Absence makes the heart grow fonder. I don't know. This is my argument. If you disagree with me, let's have a conversation about it.
It's an interesting argument. One, I mean, this is SummerSlam. They're not going to not defend the title at SummerSlam, right? The world title. So it is what it is. Ultimately, this match, I think, better fit the show because of where they are, because of the story they're telling. So I don't mind at all that the Intercontinental Championship, which was still really prestigious in 92, right? I don't mind that it was the main event, so to speak, the last match of the night on the show. It's not like the Intercontinental Championship right now closing out a show, right? That doesn't mean nearly as much as it did 25, 30 years ago.
Yeah. It just means that maybe whoever is holding the main title doesn't need to be holding the main title.
Yeah, and the thing is, now there's too many titles in general, right? And I think that's across the board. I know we like to harp in on the WWE and that negative side, but there's just a lot of titles everywhere and every promotion everywhere, and that's and that makes it hard to really care about every single title match, right? So it's not that I disagree with you, Landon. It's just that I'm not sure in today's climate that there's an answer without taking some belts away.
Hey, I'm okay. I'm on board with that idea too.
Yeah.
So Bret Hart considers this match against Bulldog in Wembley Stadium to be the greatest match of his career, but maybe not for the reason that you think.
I was going to say not the best in his career. Definitely probably the best in Bulldog's career.
Well, the thing is, it is the greatest match in Bret Hart's career because Bret Hart wrestled the whole match.
That's not true. Bulldog does some stuff.
And we'll get into it. So going back to the planning for SummerSlam, right? Rumor was that the hottest show of the summer was going to be in either Washington, D.C. or London, England. And when Bret heard about this, he went up to Vince and he said, look, I've got a great idea, but he said, I'm not going to tell you what it is unless you promise not to use it for anybody else. And Vince is like, okay, yeah, sure, I agree. And so Bret told him about his idea for a ladder match involving the Intercontinental Championship. We all know how that one worked out.
Well, no. Bret had that match with Shawn on a house show.
Okay, that's true. But he also pitched, if they have a match in Wembley Stadium, it's got to be with Davey. He's just like, look, you've got to let me. I know we're talking about, me dropping the belt to Shawn, but you've got to let me drop the belt to Davey in Wembley Stadium. And in London, that's going to get a huge reaction from the fans, and then Shawn can just take the belt off of him, and it's going to be great for everybody.
Which is funny, because that's exactly what happened.
And Vince loved the idea. He loved both ideas. It's exactly what happened. So Bret rings up Davey, and he tells him, look, this is the match. I've got so many ideas. It's all he can think about night and day. He's piecing this match together piece by piece. He wants to give Davey the huge reaction in his hometown. He even had the finish for this match in his back pocket. He'd been saving it. He'd had the finish for this match, and he was like, you know what? I'm going to wait, and I'm going to use this at the right moment, and this was it. It was going to be for Davey. Vince even asked him. He was just like, look, Bret, are you sure you want to go on last? It's the Intercontinental Championship going over to WWF. It's a big deal. Are you sure, you and Davey are there? And he said, look, I promise you nobody is going to be able to follow what we do. And Vince said, okay. And then Bret asked him, hey, you want to know the finish? And Vince says, surprise me.
It's the most unlikely, less like Vince McMahon statement that I've ever heard in my life.
Never say that to anyone. So Bret tries to get in touch with Davey before the match, and he can't find him.
Cannot find him.
Does not get a hold of him until entrance rehearsal the day before, and Davey can't look him in the eye. He's really, really disappointed in himself. He's slipping back into some old destructive habits, and he just felt terrified that he wouldn't be able to live up to the match that Bret had put together. And listen, I just want to address the elephant in the room, okay? Bulldog was an incredible professional wrestler, and yeah, he had some demons on his back, okay? It's very common in this business to get wrapped up into stuff like that. So I'm not going to fault Davey Boy Smith here.
No one's going to fault Davey Boy Smith.
I would rather us focus on the positive work that they did in the ring on that night and the impact that the British Bulldog had on the wrestling community. So he confesses to Bret right there on the day before the show, and Bret just says, trust me, I'm going to do everything I can do to get you through this. I mean, this match was a huge deal for Bret Hart. He had a lot riding on this match. He was literally going in to the last match on the card defending the Intercontinental Championship in hostile territory. There was a huge chance that he ruins his reputation with European fans if this doesn't go well. But and so you may kind of be familiar with Bret Hart's book, and that's sort of where I did my research. It's sitting over here on my bookshelf. God, it's such a great read if you haven't read it.
Needless to say, I had the last laugh.
Oh my God. He's so full of himself.
You know what? Maybe he is. Or maybe he was when he wrote the book.
Oh, maybe he has a reason to be. I'm not going to
I mean, if you were the best there is, the best there wasn't, best there ever will be, wouldn't you be a little like, fuck yeah?
But yeah, at first the match goes off really well. Davey looks super strong, and we'll get into the details of the match in a few minutes. But Davey snaps in a side headlock. He's gasping for air. And what does he say, Paul?
He just goes, Bret, I'm fucked. I'm fucked.
He can't remember anything.
No.
So Bret knew from this moment that this was his opportunity to put on the performance of his career. And he did. There's no mistake that this match is ending up on this list.
Oh, not at all. Some people, like I think the famous story of Randy Savage is he would write essays and have his entire match beat for beat planned out. And if he deviated, he would get mad. The legend is also that DDP did the exact same thing because he learned that from Macho Man. So you get people like Bret who like to plan parts out and then just kind of fill the gaps in. That's what a lot of people like to do. That's what I used to do. So it's not uncommon to have a match structured like this. Maybe not take quite as many rest spots as they did, but the rest spots aren't noticeably rest spots, and they serve the important purpose of, all right, here's what we're going to do next.
Well, there's a lot of really fun stuff to love about this match, right? Bret gets a headlock on Bulldog early on, and he takes the head scissors by Bulldog, right? Like headlock down, head scissors. We're very familiar with the spot. And then he gets the headlock back on, takes him down again, and you can see as Davey throws his legs up to catch him a second time, Bret twists his body forward and up to avoid the legs. It's just such a nice little detail.
Yeah, so there's a lot that I think we can get to in terms of the small details of the match and things that we can appreciate both Bret and the Bulldog for. But leading into the match, I don't know if you guys took a look at the pre-match promos, the interviews prior to the match, but they were both, I thought, incredible. Sean Mooney is backstage with the Bulldog, and he talks to the Bulldog, and he's like, listen, like you're facing your brother-in-law. How are you going to feel all this family drama? And the Bulldog just says,
yes, Bret, you are the Intercontinental Champion. Yes, Bret, you are my brother-in-law. But when I step in the ring with you, Bret, I never met you. I don't even know you. But at the end of the match, I just hope the families reunite.
Right, and it's a really interesting mindset for the Bulldog to be in, right, and to kind of portray that sort of, listen, once that bell rings, it doesn't matter who you are, I'm trying to win the match.
Exactly.
And I really like that. And then he also says, when talking about the pressure of being in front of his home crowd, he says, that isn't a pressure, that's a dream. And
really
you know, it's a
promo.
character that you're really starting to love, right? And then it goes straight to Hart, who looks like $1 million next to Mean Gene, which is just the best with Mean Gene, right? And Mean Gene is talking to Hart about what Bulldog just said, and Bret kind of gets pissed off.
Let me tell you something, Gene. As far as family pressure goes, I've proven that I work real well under pressure. But you know something really bugs me? That really irks me is the British Bulldog actually has the gall to come out here and say that when he steps in the ring with me, that he's never met me, that he doesn't know me. Well, let me tell you something, British Bulldog. Take a good look at my face and look me in the eye and tell me you don't know me. Do you remember that far back, British Bulldog, when I was the one that introduced you to my sister Diana in the first place? And as far as your career in the World Wrestling Federation, I'm the one that helped you the most. You wouldn't be where you are in the World Wrestling Federation if it wasn't for me. Talk about gratitude. You know, the British Bulldog forgets he's the one that wanted to challenge me. He's the one responsible for all the family tension. He's the one that wanted a shot at the gold. Well, you know something? The British Bulldog, he wanted the big fight. He's got the big fight. And as far as his big dream, you know what I think of his big dream? This big dream of his of winning the World Wrestling Federation Intercontinental title in front of 80,000 of his compatriots. Well, you know, I think this big dream of his is going to turn into a nightmare. And then tomorrow morning when he wakes up, he's going to think he woke up in the dungeon of Windsor Castle.
But I just think that it sets the stage really, really well prior to the match.
I just love how there's like the story that, oh, Bret can't cut promos. Yeah, he fucking can. Just because he couldn't like cut a good promo in like fucking Kalamazoo, Missouri, doesn't mean the man can't cut a promo. And did either of you watch the amazing promo by Bruce Hart leading into this match?
Oh, I knew you were going to tell us about it. I knew you were going to tell us
so
about
like it's like a pre-tape. I think it was on either Superstars or All American Wrestling like a week or two before this leading into it. So it's just a pre-tape of Bruce Hart sitting in his backyard, leather jacket, sunglasses, and he's just talking about how, oh, you know, my brother Bret is very selfish. My brother-in-law Davey Boy, it's his time to shine, and Bret would rather keep him down and make himself look better because he's so damn selfish. And that's what I get to say about that. And like cuts back to the ring. It's like the most awkward promo ever. I love Bruce Hart. I read your book, but that was not a good promo. Sorry. You look like $1 million though.
It wasn't as awkward as the Diana interview.
I actually didn't mind it. The only reason why I thought it was awkward is Mooney kept cutting her off.
Yeah, what the fuck,
so
Sean?
Horrible. I think you could tell she was uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And he was just trying to get her through it.
Yeah, and I could tell like he was trying to make that happen, and you could tell he was running on sort of a short amount of time, right? And he was trying to get the points that he was being told were important to make.
He's trying to guide her through it, but like she's also like, no, shut up, I want to
right,
talk.
she's got
like,
stories
like,
to
stop.
tell.
No, match. Your husband,
It doesn't
your brother,
help
go.
that was immediately following the Balmoral Highlanders bagpipes
Oh, that was the best part of the show.
with Roddy Piper playing the bagpipes.
He actually played them.
I don't believe it. It looked totally fake.
No, he could actually play the bagpipes.
I'm sure he could. It just did not look super
Look,
great.
my character in D&D is a master of the bagpipes, so I know things to do about bagpipes.
I think Paul's just blowing smoke here.
That's
No, I was blowing air
I see
out
what
of the
you did there.
bagpipes. Boom.
When Bulldog makes his way to the ring, he is accompanied by boxing great Lennox Lewis.
Lennox Lewis
with
carrying
the
British
Union
flag.
Jack. You got to like that. That was a nice touch.
So cool.
Really nice touch. But Bret Hart gets a really good response too, right? Because he's a face at the time. But what I love throughout the course of this match is as the crowd gets more and more like for Bulldog and against Hart, he starts playing that heel role a bit more. And I think it just speaks volumes about Hart in the ring and him being able to play off of a crowd. But let's get to the actual match.
I just got to say, though, I know I said it before, but I fucking hate Bret Hart's theme at this time.
I know. It's like you can hear it's the bones of what it will be.
I just call it like the Chiptunes theme. Like, Jim Johnson clearly has it written, but he hasn't gotten a chance to actually record it with instruments, and so it's all on like a fucking synth. And it sounds like you're playing an NES game. Like, here's the NES version of Bret Hart's music, and then in like 94, we get the actual, here you go, heart attack, baby. Oh, by the way, I really got to point out, Diana Smith is so much better at being in the crowd and looking concerned or cheering on her husband. Stu is so bad at it.
Well, I mean, if the cameraman would quit spooking him.
More on that.
I agree. Stu is not good at cheering on his husband.
No,
he's just not.
Okay, no, anytime you see, there's Stu Hart cheering on his son, he's like, he just nods, and I go, and then gets startled with the camera. You see Diana, like, whenever Davey Boy's in something, she's like cheering when he's getting hurt. She's fucking crying and wiping her tears away and like clenching both of her hands together because she's terrified that her
it's a lot of drama going in, and they create a ton of drama in the ring too. Like
they really do.
It's such a great build.
And the story of this match is very simple. It's one of my favorite stories. You have the unstoppable babyface, and then you have not the shit-eating, conniving heel. You have the other babyface who is a technical wizard, but doesn't want you to win, so he's going to cheat, and he's going to pull your hair, and he's going to poke you in the eyes and kick you in the legs.
Well, and find creative ways to use your powers against you. Like, it's really fun.
I just love early on. It's just Bulldog like just lightly shoves Bret, and Bret like does a backflip out of the ring. And once again, we make fun of people like Shawn Michaels doing that against Hulk Hogan, but when Bret Hart does it against Bulldog, 5 stars. Fucking love it because it makes sense.
Well, Bulldog hits a crucifix bomb, which is always a fun spot.
Like, holy shit.
And Davey gets up and follows it up with an armbar. And so Bret tries to like roll up and he tries to slam Bulldog, and he does, but Davey doesn't let go of the armbar. Right. So he just falls right down. So good.
One of my favorite things about that is Davey reverses a scoop slam. Like, I was going for a scoop slam, Davey reverses it, and then he goes for that armbar again. I'm sorry, he goes for a hammerlock. Bret can't break the hammerlock, so he just runs and he launches Davey out of the ring from his momentum. That is like a Bret Hart textbook. I can't break the hold. You have to run. Go out of the ring.
Just genius.
He does that a lot, actually, but every time I see him do, I'm like, fuck yeah. That's how you break it.
I remember us talking about that in the Hart-Austin match and just being totally enthralled by it because it's such a smart move.
I feel like all 4 of these matches we have with Bret Hart, he does it in all 4.
Yeah, when Bret Hart gets the Bulldog out of the ring in that way, he then does a dive over the top.
Yeah, it's like, what the fuck is he's doing topes now?
Was not prepared for it in the slightest. But then this is when I think the moment where Hart takes control of the match.
I feel like that starts, Davey goes for a crucifix pin, and then Bret just holds on to the Samoan drop. And then that dissection begins, to quote Jim Ross, who's not here tonight. But he just starts tearing Bulldog apart, goes up to the legs, goes to the lower back. But Bulldog just will not quit. He keeps getting back up, and whether it's a forearm or a headbutt, he just won't stop fighting back.
You get that sense of resiliency from the hometown hero, and it's really fun to watch.
And then I love whenever Bret gets sloppy, and Davey Boy he capitalizes. At one point, Bret goes for a wild punch, misses, and then just get a backslide. Like, that's so simple. But like, Bret's getting frustrated. Davey Boy's like, I'm just going to wait for him to fuck up, and when he does, I'm going to capitalize. And he does. And we see the Bret Hart backbreaker.
Oh, it's my favorite backbreaker.
It's really good. It's my second favorite thing that we see all night. You want to know what my first favorite thing is? The last match standing sign of the night.
Oh, we haven't had one in a while.
Yeah, we haven't had one in a while, and I've got a good one for you, and it asks a super important question. Are you ready?
Got milk?
Did you know Colin does backflips in his sleep?
What? Who's Colin?
The hell if I know, but that's what the poster has. It was on the back of a British Bulldog poster.
You know what? You reminded me of something. One of my favorite all-time signs, early SmackDown, a sign that's holding up that says, "It's actually Tuesday." It was like, fuck that guy.
I'm partial to the person behind me can't see.
That's always a good one.
That's in every single game now, too. But you know what's not awesome? Bret pulling the hair. Like, what the fuck, Bret? You're pulling the hair. And then he does like a snapmare where he's got like this big old handful of Davey's hair. I'm like, you son of a bitch.
It's so good. It's a subtle thing. Like, you could totally miss it.
Oh, absolutely. But it's, again, he's building sort of that heat, right, that he's earned from the crowd.
Oh, he's building some heat.
And so now we're 17 minutes or so into the match, right? So we're kind of nearing the closing act. And Hart ends up putting a sleeper on the Bulldog.
Ooh. And normally I'm like, oh, fucking sleeper, are you kidding me? But I'm like, oh, fucking sleeper, god damn it, in the middle of the ring, what's going to happen? Davey just gets the arm up and he tries to reverse it. He like runs Bret into the turnbuckle and then Bret locks it on a second time. I'm like, you motherfucker. But Davey doesn't let go. Like throws him back into that fucking, oh man. And then, gentlemen, the delayed vertical suplex.
Beautiful. Was it like 7 seconds?
Yeah, and I remember thinking, I think his record is like 32.
Oh my God.
I'm serious. I think he's got a match with Shawn Michaels where he holds him up there for 30 seconds. It's ridiculous. We get a moment that I love. Bret is trying to suplex Davey into the turnbuckle. So Davey kind of like does a reverse suplex onto the top rope and then does a superplex off. And I'm like,
yeah.
I'm like, he suplexed him on the turnbuckle and then superplexed him off.
That's
awesome.
the way to do it. Everyone should do it that way.
But Superplex, really big deal. And in the 80,000 plus Wembley Stadium, it looks really good, and the crowd pops hard for that Superplex.
And then one thing I really enjoyed is Davey Boy, he throws Bret, and Bret does that fucking sternum spot. Every time I see it, I go, it hurts. Calls for the power slam. He hits the running power slam. Yes, 1, 2. Kick out. Bret kicked out. And then Bobby Heenan just on commentary says, you hit him with your best move and he kicked out. You can't do it, Davey Boy. You can't beat Bret Hart. And then Vince goes, would you stop?
So good.
Like, oh.
Love the brain.
Yeah, because we're on WrestleMania 13 now on Last Mania Standing, it's been a bit since we've had him on commentary, and you do miss him.
He's so good.
Extent, right?
I wish he was still with us.
Yeah.
And almost as if they're saying, hey, guys, remember episode 41, whenever it ended on a German suplex? We get a fucking German suplex.
Hey.
With the bridge, and I was programmed to think, oh, this is surely the end of the match.
No,
right?
It's not the end of the match.
No, but Bulldog kicks out.
We got another 5 minutes, sir.
Yeah, Bulldog kicks out. We end up getting a double clothesline, both men down center of the ring, and then one of the smartest things I have ever seen in a wrestling match in my life happens. Both men are lying on the ground, and Bret Hart somehow maneuvers their legs and puts on the sharpshooter from the mat.
You want to know the story behind that?
I would love to know the story.
So a few days before it, he was laying in bed. He goes, oh, I got a great idea. And he looked at his watch and said, hey, let's see if this works. And he did it to her just to see if it would work. So he locked the sharpshooter laying down on his wife to see if it would work. And he's like, we're going to do it. And to the best of my knowledge, I think this is the only time he's ever done that.
So Hope, if you're listening to this, be ready.
It gonna happen.
You're going to be sleeping. Len's going to wake you up and lock you in the sharpshooter from the prone position.
One of my favorite moments that I don't think we've talked about yet, Davey's on the outside, and Bret grabs the ropes, dives over, and in midair, he grabs Davey's back and Russian leg sweeps him on the way down. It's
Vince McMahon called that a neck breaker.
It's unbelievable.
He did call it a neck breaker. Thank you, Vince. Thank you for that.
But it's perfect.
It's beautiful.
It is. I
don't think I've ever seen anything like that.
Yeah. And it's one of the things that Hart does in this match that is just unique. And it goes back to that sharpshooter, right? I don't know. I never saw it before, and I don't think I see it again after. And it's incredible. And the crowd is just built to a 10, hoping that Bulldog finds a way out of the sharpshooter, and ultimately he does when he finds the bottom rope.
He does. He gets out of it, and then Bret goes for a sunset flip. Davey just grabs those legs and drops down and pins him 1, 2, 3. He wins the Intercontinental Championship. The crowd is losing their fucking minds.
Oh, it's Wembley Stadium. But it was nuts.
But bitter Bret Hart wouldn't shake his hand until he shakes his hand. Oh, you had me going there for a second, Bret. I thought, you son of a bitch, shake that man's hand.
What's really interesting is actually Bret Hart has said this year, and I hate that I can't give credit to where I found it, but Bret Hart said this year that he's a little disappointed in the way that match ended because Davey was so focused on the crowd. He wished that he would have focused more on Bret to make it mean more and maybe offer his hand out a couple of more times before Bret was able to finally accept it.
Yeah, he just kind of held it out. I'm like, well, drop your hand down. I think they should wait for Diana to come out.
Yeah, because I love the moment with Diana at the end.
I feel like if Diana comes out and then she embraces Davey and then she gives Bret that, like, come on, he's your brother-in-law. And then they shake hands. That's nitpicking because it's a really emotional send-off. Definitely the most emotional send-off in SummerSlam history. And we can nitpick about how we think it should have gone. I liked it. I feel like that's how it needed to end. We can always nitpick, but I don't want to nitpick today.
I like the ending. It ends in Diana raising Hart and Bulldog's hands in the air. It ends in a group hug, and it ends with Vince McMahon yelling about the spectacle of SummerSlam, which is all anyone could ever possibly ask for. So what are our favorite moments?
Delayed vertical suplex.
Yeah, no, the flying midair Russian leg sweep is beautiful.
I'm going to say one of two things. Either when Bret Hart hits a Bulldog on the Bulldog, or...
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, really good. Or the sharpshooter from the ground. I mean, just really incredible
I don't think he ever does that again. And it's like, that's so fucking cool. Like, if I was Bret Hart, I would have done it every night. Just like, look what I can do.
So this is a match that is on the short list of greatest SummerSlam matches of all time. But where does that translate to our list of the 100 greatest wrestling matches of all time?
It's funny you asked that question because I was thinking about this on the way here. I'm like, this is considered to be like one of the best SummerSlam matches of all time. I personally think that we have the best SummerSlam match of all time on our list already.
I agree completely.
So it's like, okay, well, what else goes in that list? I'm like, I can think of maybe one other match from SummerSlam that I would be like, oh, that's one of the best all-time SummerSlam matches. And I don't want to say it because I think if I say it, we won't cover it. So I feel like this is top 3 SummerSlam matches, hands down.
Well,
I think.
We do have Alundra Blaze versus Bull Nakano, which is also a SummerSlam match.
Well, yeah, but that wasn't in front of 85,000 people at Wembley. So my feelings on this match, I feel like knowing the stories behind him, like Davey Boy having his issues and having to be walked through it, but they still put on that performance. I feel like that it improves it. It does. They're going, oh, can you imagine if he was 100% and they had the best match of all time? Like, but you can't go down that rabbit hole of like what ifs because then like you'll never actually appreciate the wrestling you get. You'll just kind of go, oh, it would have been better if they'd done this. But the only other match that made me go, fuck yeah, that many times was Chris Jericho and Shawn Michaels.
So would you put this above or below that?
I would put it at 25, right behind it.
25. SummerSlam 92, Hart, Bulldog, 25 for you, Paul. Yes. Interesting. Landon, would you like to go next or would you like me to
It sounds like you want me to go next, so why don't I go next?
So
it sounds like you came up with that idea by yourself. I think you should.
What's your closest ranking without going over, sir?
My closest ranking without going over 25?
See what I did there?
No, I don't.
The Price is
Right.
Oh, damn it. Spencer's going to kill me. So I actually don't have it quite that high. I do think it beats out Blaze and Nakano from if we're looking at SummerSlam matches. But I think where I end up getting stuck is around the 32, 34 area. I'm somewhere in that zone because I feel like as far as like matches that just hit you hard and were such a huge deal and were for a championship, I really think the story that Daniel Bryan and Triple H told at WrestleMania 30 in the Silverdome was just that much greater than what they were doing here at Wembley.
Okay.
1992 Royal Rumble, I don't know. I could be convinced otherwise. So maybe I want to put it right there at 33.
Interesting. I kind of went back and forth on this because here's my thought. If this match was 15 minutes and not 25, this is a top 10 match.
Well, I think the reason why it's 25 and not 15 is because they kept having to stop and call the match.
Yeah, and I understand why it was 25 minutes, and I think that it was long because in part Bret wanted it to be, even had Davey remembered everything. But the first 10 minutes of this match are just dull to me. There's a lot of rest holds, and I know why, and it's just not for me. So
yeah, that's fine.
The last 15 minutes are massive, and I think incredible. But it doesn't take away the first 10 minutes where I was wondering where the hype was, right?
Don't worry, it's coming.
So I do think this is one of the 100 greatest matches of all time, and I do think that some people will agree with me because this is really high on a lot of people's lists, and I totally understand it. But I disagree. So I'm probably closer to you, Landon, than I am to you, Paul.
That's fine.
I would probably say I would probably put it right above the Rumble match at 33, which is exactly where you put it. So I would go 33 as well.
You know what? I'd really love to hear from anybody listening right now. If you were in Wembley Stadium when this match happened, I would love to hear about that environment because that alone has enough of an impact on the wrestling world to have made it on this list. I mean, this match was just a big, big deal. And the fact that they were able to give that to the UK fans who just straight up, they don't get enough opportunities to see the wrestlers that they love. They just don't. And so this was a really, really great way that WWF was able to give back to that wrestling community.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And that's part of what makes this match so special, right? That's part of what makes it so special. You know, some of our favorite moments in wrestling from the WWF or WWE happen when they're in Toronto or when they're in London or, you know, some of these special rarity moments. And that's why they're so special because those moments are so few and far between. And, you know, if this isn't in Wembley Stadium, Bulldog doesn't win this match.
No.
And so you don't get this incredible moment.
So Paul, you were at 25. We were both at 33. So I guess best 2 out of 3, 33 it is?
That works for me.
33 it is. So Bret Hart, British Bulldog, SummerSlam 1992, the 33rd greatest wrestling match of all time. Man, I just feel like people are not going to love that.
We'll see.
I don't know.
You know what?
I don't know.
I'll say this, and I'll say it as candidly as I can. That is why we will have the fucking match rankings done at the end of the season. If you legitimately think that we're full of shit and we need to rethink it, that's what those episodes are for. Also, this is very difficult to do.
So hard. Hardest thing I think we've ever collectively done.
It really is.
Which is why we're asking for your help on our $10 Patreon tier. We need your
and
feedback.
the more matches we review, the harder it gets to review.
Yeah, big time. And so I'm really excited to see the listener suggestions and the listener voice clips that we get in. Yeah. You know, this has been a whole bunch of fun. We're coming up really, really close to our 50th episode.
I know, I'm scared.
Should we start dropping hints now about what that 50th match is going to be?
I can guarantee you there will be an icon involved.
Okay, does that give it away? I don't think it gives it away.
No, because like so many wrestlers have gone by the icon.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I like that. No, that's good. That's a good tease. We'll continue to tease just a little bit on our socials, which is at Last Match Cast on both Facebook and Twitter. If you have feedback about this match and you think it should be higher or you think it should be lower, definitely please let us know. You can email us at lastmatchstaining@gmail.com. We'd love to hear what you think. But man, episode 47 in the books, just 2 more episodes, and then we will be on episode 50, just like you said, halfway through, and that's super, super exciting for us. But I hope you guys enjoyed it from Wembley Stadium. Until episode 48, I'm Spencer.
I'm Paul.
I'm Landon.
And this is
Last Match Standing.